Let's bring in Peter Morici now, an economist and professor emeritus at the University of Maryland Business School. Thank you for being here. So, like I said, I think we all would like for our government to run more efficiently. We'd like to save our money, our taxpayer dollars where we can. A government audit, though, of this size, where do you start?
Well, that's a good question. I think that they're going to have to focus on a few agencies to begin with. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump has a very brief mandate. I don't know that he'll hold on to the House. I don't want to bury the story by going there in 2 years. So what they do, they have to be able to say, what can I do in a year? Because then we'll be in campaign mode again. And in light of that, they can't just eliminate government departments. Everybody wants to get rid of the Department of Education, it seems. That's in legislation, and you're probably going to need some Democrats to pass that, and that's not going to happen. Virtually every useless department has a constituency someplace, and a few congressmen who are willing to hold up legislation or use its survival as something that they want to use their bargaining chips to ensure their survival. The other thing is, in business, you can decide to cut a layer of management out. Just say, cut 20% out of your departments. You can't do that in the government. How many executives you have is often dictated in the specifics of the appropriation bills.
Well, I'm just wondering, right, follow the paper trail. How do they identify money that was simply just lost? I mean, Senator Bernie Sanders says the Pentagon, with a budget of $886 billion, failed its seventh audit in a row and lost track of billions of dollars. How do they find money that they can't account for and also identify redundancies? Would that not be a good place to start, but challenging task?
I think if they go that route, they'll get lost. Yeah. It's very challenging to find money like that. More likely, their idea that there are many useless regulations, and it takes people to implement those. It takes people to fill out the forms on the business side, and it takes people on the government side to process them. I think that's a good place to start. It's not that I believe in an unregulated, economy or anything like that. But you consider the automobile industry where he works and he understands. There's an awful lot of mindless stuff that goes on that slows down American business and slows down government. If you eliminate useless regulations, consolidate regulatory procedures and so forth, give it a light touch, you eliminate the need for a lot of people. The other thing is, why does the EPA sponsor summer camps for kids? You need to look at a lot of the things that particular agencies do and ask why they do them. I managed the economics department, which was about a third of the agency at the time, at the United States International Trade Commission. And one of the things I observed was that would be much more efficient if the lawyers, as they do in other civil matters, compiled their own evidence, but instead the agency compiles the evidence. And so we have a whole investigative office and batteries of economists that we probably don't need. I think you could probably cut that place in half.
Yeah, so identifying those redundancies. My final question to you would be a conflict of interest. How big of an issue is this? You mentioned Elon Musk. Well, he's dipped his toes in a lot of big industry, the automotive industry, the tech industry, space. Does that become an issue?
I think it does. I think this is a very big issue. Normally when someone goes into government, they have to put their assets in some kind of blind trust. When I was in the government, that wasn't, what I had was everything was in index funds. So that was okay. I couldn't own particular stock. The fact that he owns Tesla, and Tesla is a heavily regulated company because every automobile company is. He gets government benefits over at SpaceX. He gets big government contracts. This is an enormous conflict of interest. Normally, we'd expect him to recuse himself from all of that and have someone else manage his enterprises while he was working in the government. But instead, they've sort of created the situation where he doesn't take any money. He's got $1 a year or something. He has one foot in the government, and he continues to run his businesses. This is a pattern now with this second Trump administration. It seems like so many people have problems that he's appointing. And, so many issues have not been considered. He reminds me very much of an impulsive sophomore in the way he's approaching his second term.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.